Welcome back, Christmas Carolers. I hope you enjoyed Stave 2. It's the first chapter in A Christmas Carol where Scrooge meets one of the three spirits of Christmas. If you're just now joining us, you need to know that this is the third video in a series. So you should go watch the first video here, and then track down a copy of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and read the first chapter, and then come on back for some more insights. In Stave 2, Charles Dickens uses the same five-part structure I talked about earlier. That five-part structure where there's an introduction and a conclusion, and in the middle, three examples of something or three parts of a story. Charles Dickens uses that structure for the entire novel, but he also uses that structure right here within this chapter. The introduction and conclusion, of course, is just the ghost showing up in Scrooge's bedroom in the middle of the night to whisk him off on this journey of the past, and then returning him to his bedroom at the end of the chapter. In the middle, though, the ghost takes him to three different time periods in his life: his childhood, his apprenticeship, and his adulthood, but when he was younger than he is now. When the Ghost of Christmas Past shows Scrooge scenes from Scrooge's childhood, we see that it was often a lonely and kind of unhappy childhood. And yet, Scrooge is fascinated to see it and has some fond memories. We also see that some of his best friends and happiest times were within the pages of a book. And I can identify with that. He is also shown a scene with his sister, who he remembers extremely fondly and as a wonderful person. And seeing himself as a lonely boy reminds him of that Christmas caroler at the door from Stave 1, and he wishes he could do that differently. And seeing his sister reminds him of his nephew, who also came by for a Christmas Eve visit in Stave 1, and he wishes he could do that scene differently too. Dickens is so clever here. He laid that groundwork in Stave 1, and then here in Stave 2 he reminds us of that nephew just a little bit, and in Stave 3 that's going to pay off in a big way. A big chunk of Stave 2 happens at Fezziwig's party. This is the business where Scrooge did his apprenticeship as a young man, and Fezziwig throws a big Christmas Eve party for all of his servants and his workers and even some of the other servants and workers in the neighborhood who might not have such a great boss. When he sees this scene, Scrooge is completely transfixed. He's totally back in the moment. And when it's over, he tells the ghost what a terrific man and what a terrific boss Fezziwig was. And the ghost says, "What's the big deal? So he spent a little bit of money and threw a little party for one night. What's the big deal?" And this is my favorite part of Stave 2, because Scrooge says back to the ghost, "It isn't that. It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune." Right on the heels of this, Scrooge suddenly thinks back to how he treated his own clerk on Christmas Eve, and again wishes he could do things differently. Finally, the Spirit takes Scrooge to a couple scenes from his younger adulthood. We see the woman that Scrooge might have married if things had turned out differently. The first scene we see, she's breaking up with him, and she says, "You've changed. Money has become more important to you than our love." Harsh. Then we see a scene of her with the man she did marry, and all their many children, and all the fun they're having, and Scrooge realizes that he kind of wishes he had a family like that, but he has put priority on different things in his life. Finally, at the end of Stave 2, Scrooge is so angry at the ghost, really he's just angry at himself, that he grabs the Spirit's hat, which is like a big candle snuffer, and tries to smash down the Spirit and put out that bright light that's been shining out the top of its head. But you know what? You can't put out the Spirit of Christmas Past. Not even if you're Scrooge, no matter how hard you try. And that light still just keeps flooding out everywhere. So on to Stave 3. In Stave 3, it's the longest chapter in the book. You'll meet some of the most famous characters of this whole story. You'll see some of the most famous scenes that everybody pictures when they think of A Christmas Carol. And you'll hear one of the most famous lines in all of Christmas literature. I hope you have fun, enjoy reading Stave 3, and I'll see you in a few days.